relief, it's only me I gotta please. Rooted deeply as I rise into bloom. Doing me, I stretch out wide. I don't worry about taking up too much room. I'm feeling free. Figured out how to name what I need. What a relief. It's only me I gotta please. What a relief. It's only me I gotta please. I found peace in releasing with the seasons. I found healing in letting it all lie. I found ease in keeping seeds till I need them. And when it's time, I let them fly. I let them fly. I let them fly. Woo! I'm feeling free. Figured out how to name what I need. What a relief. It's only me I gotta please. Yeah. I'm feeling free. Figured out how to name what I need. What a relief. What a relief. What a relief. It's only me I gotta please. What a relief. It's only me I gotta please. Thank you so much. Are we having fun yet? This is a song called I Don't Know How to Tell You Now. All of your self-loathing piled up. You tried to control it by shutting out love. When it exploded on us, I tolerated every hateful word you gave me as you manipulated our exchange. So at the end I said thank you. I don't know how to tell you now. I don't know how to tell you now. Wish I would have said what I should have said every other time that this happened. 'Cause I don't know how to tell you now. You text me your punches, then hide. I bend to your judgment, 'cause I don't like a fight. Was all of our love one big lie? Is it too late for me to say I have a grievance here, causing pain, not holding space for other people's feelings. I don't know how to tell you now. I don't know how to tell you now. I wish I would have said what I should have said every other time that this happened. 'Cause I don't know how to tell you now. You dug your heels in, terrified of growing for all these years. Dug your heels in. Somehow I didn't notice. For all these years, I don't know how to tell you now. Ooh, I don't know how to tell you now. Wish I would have said what I should have said every other time that this happened. 'Cause I don't know how to tell you now. I don't know how to tell you now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. Can we give her another round of applause? Thank you. Fun fact, Caitlin came to a club, a write shop club, a few weeks ago, and she's like, hey, I'm a musician. And I'm like, hey, do you want to perform? It's that easy. Okay. Good Creative Mornings, everyone. My name is Tina. I'm the founder of Creative Mornings and your New York City chapter host. I am welcoming you today on the ancestral land of the Lenape people, and we here at Creative Mornings HQ want to recognize the significance of Brooklyn and New York City for Lenape people past and present. What an absolute joy to be back at L'Alliance in this beautiful theater. Thank you so much to the wonderful team of L'Alliance. There's so many of them backstage. Can we give them a round of applause? Yeah. In case you're new to L'Alliance, this is a highly respected educational, cultural, and arts institution where you can immerse yourself in French language classes and world-class cultural programming. For example, on May 20th and 21st, you can experience the story of Little Red Riding Hood. I was raised on that one. In this production, Das Plateau brings the Brother Grimm's take to life through immersive imagery, unforgettable characters, and an empowering interpretation. We will link to it in the follow-up email, and I highly recommend you have a look at L'Alliance's cultural calendar. The programming team is doing a remarkable job in curating a diverse range of offerings. So thank you, L'Alliance. We really love bringing our community to your space. Every month, we have a guest read our manifesto to remind us of our values and why we do what we do. Today, that guest is Suzanne Zudik. She's the Vice President and Marketing and Communications here at L'Alliance, so give her a round of applause.
Thank you, Tina, and good morning, everybody. I'm happy to be here today to read the manifesto. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections and learning from others in hugs and high fives. We bring people together who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome. Thank you.
So normally Exa will come up here and tell us who the 30-second pitches are. Unfortunately, she's homesick, so I want to say hi to Exa on the live stream and everyone else tuning in on the live stream. I hope you're all cozy in your beds with coffee. So congratulations to all of you who are brave souls to put your name into 30-second pitch wheel. We pulled 4. So after Yancey's talk, please be ready for the 4 of you that I'm just about to mention to come up to the stage. That would be Stephen Schicknell, Sandy, there's no last name, but it's about a short film about motherhood. So we don't have 5 Sandys come up. Rebecca Bay and Mary Bergstrom. Can you raise your arms if you're here and you heard your name? Do I see 4 arms? I think I do. Great, awesome. So who was here last month who was part of Timothy Guthman's talks? Oh, a few of you, right? Wasn't that good? It was so good. During that event, I asked you, the audience, to stand up if you've ever made a friend at Creative Mornings. And I know that the perspective from the back is very different. So for those of you who were there and you're wondering, what did that look like? This is what it looked like from the stage. Because of 470 people in the audience, 450 were standing. And I was smiling because it made me feel like this. To be really honest, you making friends at our events is pretty much the absolute only metric I personally care about. And it's known at Creative Mornings HQ as ROF, Return on Friendship. And, right, it's the only metrics I care about. And nothing makes me happier than connecting with others who also believe that making friends and building community is the medicine our society needs at the moment. And one of these humans is Ruth Ann Harnish. In 2024, Ruth Ann became our first ever patron, gifting us a staggering $1 million, cheering us on to think bigger and bolder. The donation gave me permission to dream. And I asked myself, what if we allowed you to build your own mini communities in your local neighborhoods around something you love? And that idea lit us up, and Creative Mornings Clubs was born. The idea is really simple. If there is something you love doing, and you'd like to make friends while doing it, you just qualify to start a club. Anyone can raise their hand and apply to host a club for your community. And now, a year later, into this experiment, we have a whopping 37 clubs up and running here in New York. And 6,000 of you attended them. That's an unbelievable number, so thank you all. And you're wondering, well, what do they look like? Well, let me show you. So, for example, the photo nerds are uniting and roaming the streets of New York City with Nelson's Photographers Club. Nelson is also our photographer here, so when you see him, that's him. You like drawing? Make Comics Club. Michelle gets you to play in her Let's Play Club. Lenny teaches you how to make dumplings, and then over dinner you sit down and you discuss a predetermined topic. Matthew, who is hidden back there doing our live stream, he runs a weekly Idealist Club where the group dreams up social good actions, and then they do things like handing flowers to strangers on the street. Then Ricardo's Cinema Paradiso, you get to explore the rich history of cinema. He's also known to have the most impressive snack tables, by the way. And then in Katie's Write Shop, you get to silently write with others for an hour, first thing on a Monday morning. And if picnics is your thing, in Jillian's Sun Your Bun Picnic Club, you get to picnic in a park. And speaking of picnic, mark your calendars, because Nelson, Shelby, and Jillian, 3 club hosts, are hitting their 1-year anniversary of hosting their club, and they decided to self-organize and invite you all to a giant club-anniversary picnic. We will share info as it gets closer, but June 28th, do not make plans. So these are just a few of the examples of our 37 currently active clubs in New York City. They happen on all kinds of days. We have finally broken free of only meeting up on Friday mornings, I know. And also, we unlocked 3 more cities last month: San Francisco, Austin, and Winnipeg, and Philadelphia is just about to be unlocked. So if you have friends in those cities, tell them to host a club, to attend a club. And this is how we feel at HQ about clubs. We hope you do too. I'm that lady in the dress. So check out creativemornings.com/clubs to see all the upcoming ones. And if you've been secretly thinking about hosting one, be brave. Just do it. Apply to host your own. And if you have questions, come to us. We are so happy to help you get over that threshold. And Ruthann, thank you again. Ruthann is here for your generous support. Without you, we would not have been able to build this first iteration. So who's here for the first time? Just raise your hand. Ooh, so many of you. Welcome. I literally will give you a hug if you come up to me afterwards. For those of you who are here for the first time, you might not realize that, but all these dots here represent the Creative Mornings chapter in another city that is entirely run by volunteers. We have over 1,000 volunteers that make it possible for 20,000 plus people to get together every month in 70 countries. So Creative Mornings is a community-led global labor of love, celebrating human connection and creativity. And our events wouldn't be possible without the generosity of everyone that is contributing. That's you showing up, our dedicated volunteers, our speakers, our musical guests, the tech teams, the venue hosts, the patrons, and also our local and global partners. And I want to mention our global partner, Adobe. We are so incredibly proud to be supported and to be recognized as a force in the global creative community. So thank you, Adobe. So raise your hand if you use Adobe product. How many of you? Wow, that's cool. So I'm super excited to announce the following, because over the last 6 months, the team Adobe and us, we have been working hard on bringing you something really special. Last week, we launched a substantial series of free online workshops and resources designed to help you level up in your career, from LinkedIn glow-ups to navigating imposter syndrome to freelancer survival guides, just to mention a few. The sign-ups speaks for themselves. Some of them are in the thousands, which is a really gratifying feeling to see after all these months of work. So go check them out. We'll link to them in the follow-up email. And thank you, Adobe, for being such a fantastic global partner. Are you glad we welcome you with coffee? Raise your hand if you're also over-caffeinated. I'm not alone, good. So Adobe is a global partner, and then we have local partners who help us cover the cost for the actual events. So let's go thank them. First off, MPB. Do we love MPB? Yes, we love MPB. Yes. They make it super easy to give unused camera gear a new life, or adopt a used camera. So if you have an old camera or lens sitting in a drawer, go set them free on mpb.com. It's really easy. And every month when I prepare for these slides, I go and look at their latest offerings, because they upload new products all the time, and usually I get lost in the like us section. But yesterday, I got pulled into this original content review of this unbelievably beautiful camera, Sigma BF, and I was drooling over it, and yes, now I want to adopt one. But anyway, I digress. Thank you, MPP, for being such a great local partner. And then there's our long-standing partner, Harvest. Just like us, they're a New York City-based company, and I love that they make me think about time. As a lover of quotes, every time I see a quote that is related to time, I think of them. For example, this one by Mark Strand. Each moment is a place you've never been. If you think about time in your day-to-day, if you have to do keep time at work, if you need a simple and beautiful way to do that, go check out getharvest.com. It's a really excellent tool. It's beautifully designed, and it's run by really wonderfully generous humans. So thank you, Harvest. All right, now we're going to play a game. I want to get to know you a little bit before I introduce Yancey. It's called Stand Up If. I'm going to project sentences to the screen. If they apply to you, please stand up. If you can't stand up, just raise your hand. All right, ready. Stand up if you're proud of yourself for getting up early and socialize at 8:30 a.m. I'm proud of you too. Stand up if you came not knowing what to expect and this is your first event. Oh, so many of you. I'm serious. I'll give you a hug afterwards. I really will. Stand up if you're visiting from another city. Oh my God, so many. Okay, all right, let's find out where. Who thinks they're the farthest away? Melbourne? Wow. Well, that was a slam dunk. You win. Okay, stand up if you're hoping for inspiration today. Oh, wow. Okay, stand up if you're hoping to make a friend. Oh. Stand up if you dream of meeting new collaborators. Look at that. Stand up if you have no idea why you're here. No confused souls in the room? All right, you were fun. That was fun. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, now to the main attraction of our event. And I have to say, I am personally so unbelievably excited for this talk. I feel very selfish because I want to hear this talk. I hope you want to hear it too. But anyway, our theme this month globally is revival. It was chosen by our Fort Worth, Texas chapter and illustrated by Marielle Guzman. All right, so incredibly excited to announce Yancey Strickler, a deeply thoughtful, community and creativity-minded human whose work I admire immensely. He's someone who consistently helps paint an optimistic and inspiring future worth moving towards, which is really what we need, and is the kind of speaker I want on this stage. As a writer and entrepreneur, he's consistently focused on supporting artists and creative people. He's the co-founder and former CEO of Kickstarter, and is currently building his latest labor of love, Metalabel. Please give a rock star round of applause for Yancey Strickler.
What's up? Good morning, everyone. Just to say, Tina gives amazing hugs, so don't miss that chance. That's a rare, not rare, but a worthy opportunity. Nice to see you all this morning. I'm going to talk about some things that are some new ideas for me to be sharing publicly in a venue like this. And even this talk, I'm cramming a lot of stuff in, just because there's so much to talk about, and we could go longer, but. You know, I'm a creative person, I identify as a creative person, and I think of other creative people as like my tribe, my peers that I'm advocating for, looking for, and there's a lot of doom out there for us these days. There's a lot of doom, and the doom is like very well founded. There's some good, there's a lot of logic to the doom. However, it's not the whole story. It's not the whole story. And my feeling is that this is absolutely an amazing time. And it's getting better, and it will only continue to get better. And that we're maybe at the end of something, but we're not at the end. We're also at the beginning of something. And so I want to talk a little bit about what that is today. But, you know, we have to start with the doom. And I have to start with my own doom. A few years ago, I'd left Kickstarter and was out there working as a creator, writing a newsletter, running a community. I'd written a book, and I'd found myself with thousands of people that I was holding space for every week and doing things with, both pre and during COVID, and was just surrounded by wonderful people and loved it. Loved so much of it, however, was actually just sad all the time. Was actually sad all the time. And I realized it's because I didn't really feel a strong sense of connection. There's an audience that I talked to, but it wasn't a peer relationship. And instead, I found myself in this position of holding on to like all this responsibility, and doing things on behalf of other people for which I did receive compensation, you know, all sorts of things, but like, how did it speak to me? And it really didn't. And I found myself doing what I wanted and just getting unhappier each day. So I eventually did the embarrassing thing of, you know, we're going on hiatus and da-da-da-da-da, and ended up spending some time just reading. What I do is I just read things when I want to reset. And this is a book I've read many times before called Our Band Could Be Your Life by Michael Azerrad. And this is basically an oral history of 12 different punk bands and how they started. And it's like Sonic Youth, Black Flag, minor threat. And what each of these stories tells is that there's some band in the middle of nowhere or somewhere making really noisy music. No record label wanted to put them out. So instead, they made their own label and put themselves out, which just simply involved creating a logo and a P.O. box. That was it. And there's all these amazing labels that have started in this similar way, just like basically someone wanting to put themselves out or a friend. But the magic that happened was the second that they would publish that first thing, like 4 other releases would be ready to come in behind them. People that felt inspired, they got a sense of permission that like, I want to make music like you, or I do make music like you. And it just made me appreciate how this structure is not just like publishing work, it's manifesting more of that culture. It's just like a different way of thinking. Don't have time for it, but there's another story around the Royal Society, which invented modern science in actually a very similar way of zines and people publishing in a shared space. But I came to think of a structure like this as something that's not just specific to music, but this label model is something that could apply to any creative form. And I thought of this as a meta label. And it's where you have some group of people who have some shared purpose. That purpose could be punk rock, it could be reggae, it could be getting together on a Friday morning to talk about creativity. There's some shared purpose that brings them together. There's some squad, there's some group of people who make it happen. Some core group, maybe a larger, wider circle of people. There's releases, there's some public thing that happens. You're creating public touch points for people to come in and be a part of it, and for people to understand what your group is doing. And finally, some rules of participation, how money gets shared, how things operate. But that this is how those indie record labels were run, this is how the Royal Society is run, this is effectively even like A24 or an art gallery or even a book publisher is using a structure like this. And so I found a group of partners, a group of collaborators. I found my own transition from being alone to being in collaboration with others, and started making projects to explore this idea. So one of the first things we made was we made a little like tarot card RPG journey where you and your group could identify what are your values according to that thing I just showed you. We made a little Discord bot where people could collectively tweet together, or like you put things in a chat and if it gets enough upvotes, it would automatically send off from someone's Twitter account, so like a collective voice. And we did things like made a little zine that we put in front of our office on Canal Street in a newspaper box and gave away 100 of these every day for several months. And these were all projects we were making of just trying to, how do we operate in this mode of behavior? How do we adopt this new way of seeing? And ultimately, this did allow me to break this pattern and to find myself in a place of making things all the time, never really feeling alone with it, constantly being in dialogue with other people, and just a different relationship to the world. We'll come back to this. But, it's very easy to look at where we are and just assume there is like a status quo that is permanent and, whatever, it's going to stay here, it's always been here. But really, these are things that you want to look back and understand more of. Why are the things we have the way that they are? And there's 2 words that are just so bedrock to certainly everyone in this room of both art and creativity that we accept as universal things that have always meant what we think that they mean and that have always been here. But the truth is that is not the truth. So if you think about the invention of art, we're going to zoom through this pretty quick, don't worry. Here's just 4 books I've super enjoyed reading to understand this. The Lives of Most Eminent Painters, Sculptors, very famous book. The Invention of Art, excellent. These Eric Hobsbawm books are phenomenal about the history of the world. And finally, Ben Davis, art critic for ArtNet, his book, 9.5 Theses on Art and Class is excellent. But what you see when you look at the invention or the history of art is that if you think of art as being like a representative image of some kind, then we have cave paintings and things like that. If we think of art as being like portraits and more literal representations, those things have been around since the 1400s, and those were generally done out of patronage to a rich person, and it was about edifying them and cementing them in history. But if we get into like art as self-expression, art as expression of talent and imagination, then we're getting into like early 19th century. Paris is of Salon after the French Revolution is when that's really starting. And then if we think about commercial art, like people buying, trading paintings and like artists are stars, we're talking more the 1930s to 1950s that really started to happen. So art, the way that we think of it today, is, I would say, less than 100 years old. Now, if you look at creativity, what word could be more universal than creativity? It's what made it all, right? Well, actually, creativity was a concept and even a word invented in the 1940s by a United States Defense Department research grant to try to find divergent thinkers to be officers in the military, and to solve a widespread concern among social scientists at the time, which is that they were noticing that Americans in early capitalism were unhappy. There were more white-collar workers than blue-collar workers for the first time. There was a modern concern of just like this disenchantment. And there was a search for some essence that we could use to find those divergent, more individualistic thinkers. And if we could find it, we could teach it to people. So there was a whole period of time of like the Rorschach test was an example of this, of trying to find how creative is someone, putting like modules on people's brains to find where creativity is in the brain. Abraham Maslow, Timothy Leary, two of the first creativity researchers. The word creativity entered the dictionary for the first time in 1966, began being used in the year 1950, first as like a corporate buzzword. And it was thought of as a democratic form of genius that anyone could access. And so this was an explicit plan by the United States government in the 1940s to try to solve what were some then pressing problems that have produced an unbelievable result. In 1957, there was a bill passed that remade the United States education system to make it creative. Creative writing entered the school system for the first time in the 1960s. Like, I'm a second-generation creative American. It's how I've been brought up. I'm not joking. I mean, it's how I've been brought up, right? And so this is less than 100 years old. We think of creativity as universal. It's always been here. It's the essence. It's the fountain. It's 100 years old. There was something true that they tapped into. But there weren't words like it before. It was like imagination, providence, things that had a different meaning. But this idea of like industriously making things better was a new concept. And importantly, creativity was always thought of as a commercial application. It was government. It was advertising agencies. It was thought of as a commercial application to make things better. So these two histories are helpful when we look at four words, four titles of types of people that are similar-ish, but there are slight differences between them. Commercial artist maybe is not a phrase people use as much now, but for a long time that was the word for a designer, anyone that worked professionally inside a company and had some sort of creative job. But we could see the lines between these people. So an artist is self-employed self-expression. A creator is self-employed commercial expression. Remember, creativity is about commercial applications of things, and that a creator is working within platforms and generally working directly for pay. So self-employed commercial expression. A commercial artist is commercially employed commercial expression. And then creative, a term that I hear people under 25 use to describe creative people. Don't do it. Creative is an advertising word used to dehumanize creative people. And that is brand-employed, branded expression. But these are like different things. Similar vibe space, but quite distinct. And they have different origin points. And we today are swimming in all of these things. And so there's just a tremendous amount of energy and growing power coming from these worlds. Like if I look at the 21st century, we'll touch on this a little bit later, but like the first 25 years, we're now a quarter way into the 21st century, I would posit that creativity is one of the fastest growing industries of anything in this century, right? This is on the rise. And yet, here's the doom. And despite this, creative people are excluded from the full benefits of capitalism. So the greatest benefits of capitalism is collective wealth creation. You don't just make money from your own labor. You're part of something bigger. Where is that for creative people? You could be in a band, you could be in a movie, you could be in a bigger production, maybe. That's more of like a job. But where is wealth creation And where is that structure that lets us do things together rather than just compete against each other in like this one-off, mano-a-mano thing? Now, this is where we are now. Metalabel, last week, we operate through these spring, summer, fall, winter collections. We update our product and introduce new artists and tell a story. And we told the one this past week about, we had a eulogy for the lonely economy that we just left. We remember the promises it made and it did not keep. And this is a symbol of this. This is this symbol of, we're not thought of as people that could do things together, anything bigger. We're just a bunch of 1099 NPCs running around. And nobody really cares about us. They want our content for their training models. They used to. But on our little website, you see there's the light dark mode in the top right there. This is the dark. Here's the light mode. We move into the bloom. But this is not just a crisis point, it's a turning point. It's an inflection point. Because by the end of this century, creative people are going to be the wealthiest and most powerful group of all, right there at the top. This is going to happen for a bunch of different reasons. One is that AI is going to commoditize most things. Most things. What will be distinct are voices, opinions, personalities, and who has that but creative people? In a world where more and more things are commoditized, I think that means more of those tools of commodification will also be in the hands of creative people. And I ultimately see us shining in that world. I think our skill set continues to be valuable. The whole creator economy, people talk to death about the creator economy. The phrase is like 3 years old, by the way. Ridiculous. But like by the end of it, by 2030, it's like a $900 billion industry. Being a creator as a profession, it's about 15 years old. This is not the beginning. I mean, this is not the end. This is the beginning. This is not the peak. And so there's a tremendous change that's going to happen. And it's not going to kick off what we want on its own. But new forms can help get us there. So my experience with new forms started with working on Kickstarter and experienced how years of us trying to explain to people what later came to be called crowdfunding, where you're like, here's a conditional purchase based on a collective decision. You watch the eyes glaze over. You're like, how is this going to work? But the second that got expressed as a software that felt like a game, big numbers, like in a second, people would get it. Be like, dude, why didn't you tell me? Oh my God, I tried. And what it came to feel like for me was that there had been a wall that all of us creative people have been running up against about how do I get money to make my thing? And the wall we've been running up to is like there's 5 institutions that might consider us. Everybody's trying to go there. Everyone else trying to go there is more credentialed than us. Why even try? We give up. And instead of that wall, Kickstarter just built a door there. It's just a door. And it instantly felt obvious. People streamed through. It's like almost $10 billion that's changed hands for people's ideas, 15, 16 years later. That's a new form. A new form. My hope is that Metalabel can similarly be a form like that helps people follow the same journey I've gone through of just sad boy to squad boy. I don't even know. I didn't think that one through. Sorry. But so, what we tried to optimize Metalabel for is for you as a creative person to release work and not do it on your own. So this is a book I've made with 10 other authors. The Dark Forest Anthology of the Internet. You could see all of our little names up there, a little face pile. But this is a book combining pieces by a dozen internet stars and puts it together in a book. We've sold a couple thousand copies of this over the past year. But because Metalabel has this entire structure to help you do things together, you can actually build a split and a royalty into anything you make. So when we published that book, we set what percentage of the money each person should receive. We each got 10% of the money. You set how much money to recoup, like you got to pay the printer back the $8,000, so like take that out first. You could set money to set aside to save for later to make another project. And so we that works. Now, use a Stripe, it's phenomenal. And so like $80,000 has flowed through that book, and it's all automatically flowed to each person. We built a little treasury of another $15K that we're using to publish another book by another author coming out this month. And so this process of just some internet randos get together in a Telegram group, this is the true story, get together in a Telegram group, have a secret conspiracy, plot together, make this thing, publish it. Everyone has made at least $5,000 in the past year personally, no one having to work that hard except me and, and our designer, but that's fine. We love it. We enjoy it. And now we're putting out another book by someone else and another book by someone else, and suddenly like I'm a part of something. Even more than like having made something, I'm a part of something, and like people are reaching out. Can you do stuff with me? It's the story of the label early on. Like it's happening. I'm experiencing it. It's cool. And so there's just a whole product set that makes it just stupid easy. Set the percentage, click save, set the budget, click save, and it just automatically does it all. Yeah, this is like the dashboard for the Dark Forest from a few weeks ago. So this is like you log in, you see this, you can direct money, all that. But I had an interesting thing happen where the Dark Forest Collective, we were making a lot of money last year, and I was signed a new book by a new author, Nadia Asparova, incredible author, a book called Anti-Memetics. It's going to be a famous book, just telling you. Comes out in about a month, Anti-Memetics. And started to see how our project was going to end up making like 6 figures in revenue at some point in the next month or two. And realized that I was silly to be so YOLO with how I was running this project and just using my split thing, my software to solve everything. I should make some sort of legal structure to represent us. And I was actually dissatisfied with the options that were available. Like you could become an LLC, which is the typical thing, the generic option. That puts a legal shield over a project, but it doesn't help you like share the pie or grow it. You know, it's just like protection. You could be a C corporation, which gets you some of those things, but then you're like taxed twice, corporate and personal income, and there's so much overhead. You could be in a nonprofit and then have a lot of red tape, and then there are more advanced options that I wasn't educated enough to really deal with. But I started to think about what if we could create a new structure for a project like ours, and actually a new structure for creative work, period. With Kickstarter, I had some experience of seeing how public benefit corporations were made a law. This is a PBC, not a B Corp. That's another story. And seeing how something like that became a law and like that new possibility was made. So I reached out to someone I knew who knows a lot of interesting people, and soon we were talking to all these lawyers, and lawyers who had made new corporate forms before, and lawyers who had made the PBC before. And for the past year, I've been working on this project to try to develop this new structure for creative work. And it will become public more widely next month, but excited to talk about it a bit today. And we call it the Artist Corporation. And you could think of the Artist Corporation as like a company, as like a C Corp, except it's made specifically for how creative people do things. So we could imagine that there's a band, and to start, they have an artist corp right from the beginning. And so from the beginning, they're not just 5 individuals, they're collective owners of a project that has the right to own their songs, that can own their gear, manage their affairs, that when they start to get paid, that money can automatically flow to members according to preset splits, or be saved into a treasury for future projects, or to be used to get access to better health care or other benefits. As an A Corp, you're also able to receive both nonprofit funding as well as commercial forms of revenue without a whole bunch of hurdles to jump through. And if a bigger institution comes along, like a record label, rather than that group automatically selling away the intellectual property rights to their work, which has been in the convention for the last 80 years, instead, as an A Corp, they have the ability to issue shares and create equity like a startup can. And so you could imagine instead that label might make an investment in that artist corporation, valuing them at a higher number, so allowing the artist to be worth more, to have better equity and leverage, and allowing both parties to benefit if things went well. Now, a lot of these are things that a C Corp, a normal company, can do pretty easily right now. Not all of these, but most of these. And there's nothing here like that's truly mind-blowingly novel. However, this is not a set of capacities, of capabilities that creative people have had until now. This ability to create shares, to create equity, to generate real collective wealth and value from their work. This is a new frontier. And this is a space that I think things are going to go. So there's a website, artistcorporations.com, where you can learn more. And importantly, we have on there an area where we ask creative people to share your own situation. What do you do? What's your financial situation like right now? What do you need? What's hard for you? What do you want to see? We're taking in a lot of input and a lot of data points as we come to crafting the final language of all this, but that would be a super helpful way to contribute. And ultimately, to do this, we are going to pass a law. You have to pass laws. We'll pass laws at state levels, which is where corporations and legal structures are formed. And we think there's a good chance we'll have the first of those passed next year. But this is the platform for creative people to not just be on our own, to not be 1099 NPCs, to not be 18th century traveling peddlers, but for us to be real participants and players in culture and our economy. And we're going to crush it at this. We are. We are. No one has ever accused a creative person of being good at operations, for sure. There will be some rough transitionary moments, but ultimately, what we're talking about here is, to date, creative people have always sat at somebody else's table. That's all we do. We're looked at as charity, or we're looked at as a financial asset that can be exploited. That's really the two modes, or free entertainment. And but this is ours. This is something that we can truly build and that we can interface with the world, not being this weak little artist, creative person, but something with real stature and standing that is legitimate, that is important, whose work has value, and is going to be seen increasingly that way in society at large. Even for the rest of society to even see these words of artist corporation together, I think will be powerful and help recontextualize what it is that we do. And ultimately, I think this nets out in the creative century. The creative century. The 20th century is shaped by Cold War competition and multinational corporations. This century is going to be shaped by small groups of people in group chats, plotting conspiracies and then launching them on Main. For real. I mean, the White House does it. And again, if you look at the slope of creative output, creative consumption, the first 25 years of this century, it's straight up. And yeah, we're everybody already has a podcast and everybody's got everybody. Yeah, it's just getting started. It's still mainly the West for certain types of content and things, but it's just going to keep going. It's just going to keep going. And we're going to be able to create the tools, the structures that let us be more and more real and that take us beyond this phase where we are right now. And so the transition that I just have personally experienced in the past 5 years, started from me staring into this abyss of doom saying, I'm doing everything that I want and I'm unhappy and I don't know what to do about it and I see no way out. I see no way out. To, I'm reaching towards some unknown feeling of maybe there's things in the past I can learn from, find amazing other humans who feel the same. We hold hands together, step through a door that we make for ourselves, and then see this giant A and this bigger vision on the other side. And this is just, my journey is just a microcosm of all of us. All of us. This is my version. We're all going to have our versions of this. But this is the transition. This is the transition that we're in now. And so, again, the thought I would leave you with is that this isn't the end. This is the beginning. Thank you. I think there are time for questions. A little bit of time for questions, Tina?
Oh,
yeah.
Of course we do.
If you ask a question, you get a hug.
Oh my God, I would run over for you.
From Tina.
I would break rules. My Swiss timely rules. Okay, who has questions? I am buzzing. Can we give him another round of applause? Woo! Yancey, you are a gift to the creative community. You really are. You
Servant.
Really are.
I'm a servant.
Yes, you are. Okay, raise your hand. Okay, back here. Stand up, say your name, and succinct question, please.
Hi there, I'm Erin. I work in tech and formerly at Carta, which is private equity and all this stuff, so super cool to hear what you're thinking. I am wondering, tech is kind of reeling from the zero interest economy and lack of exit ability, and I'm just wondering how you're thinking about that with Acores and staying true to the artistic vision.
Yeah, super appreciate that question. And yeah, I think there's a lot that's exciting. I mean, I think everything about A Corp is exciting. There's a shadow. There's a shadow to say, well, we want more money to enter the space because there isn't enough, and generally what's there we have to beg and borrow for. But what will it mean when that money enters the space? How does that change the work that we make? What sort of expectations are there? And yeah, what I would say is that there already are a lot of investors in culture and creative things. They operate now in the gray market of there aren't well-defined ways to do things, and generally gray markets benefit people with money versus people looking for money. And so I think that there is a lot of that already at play. Right now it's moving in inefficient ways and not maybe the fairest terms, and that I think generally it's found that if you create more standard ways of doing things, if you can make something like a safe agreement for an artist, that will lubricate and allow more funding to happen. We are certainly talking to people about helping to prepare initial A Corp funds that could be there, and also things like A Corp education or financial literacy tools or classes that can be there as the first ones get off the ground. But yeah, I think that there will be a range of like very sophisticated financial instrumentation and things that are probably beyond my understanding in many ways, as well as just like good, solid bookkeeping for tracking your expenses, for managing your income and all of that. But it does open up a lot of doors that are can seem unnerving, I think, but ultimately it's part of how we get there.
Hi, I'm Lee. You may not be at this point, but I'm curious, what do you think will be the legislative hurdles to getting something like this passed? Meaning, like, at what point can I call my representatives? Because I really love doing that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, love
I'm getting so good at it.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm so glad to hear that. So I presented this idea as a TED Talk like a month ago. And that talk will go online at some point in the next month, at which point the website I mentioned and like a public campaign will begin in a more concentrated way. And we're going on tour and doing events in different cities, meeting with artists. And in the fall is going to be like the real political crescendo, all with the goal of getting this on the legislative docket for January of next year. And there's a few states that are important that we're focused on, but it's sort of like building up to the fall when people will be paying attention, and then let's just make this seem like the most inevitable, good for everybody idea ever. And so I would say one of the reasons when you do the survey on the website, we ask, where do you live and where were you born? Because we want to know people who are come from important districts for singular politicians who might hold some sway. But the good news is that working at a state level on something as esoteric as this, these tend to be nonpartisan things, and it's just looked at as like how sound is the reasoning, and it sort of escapes a lot of the noise. So our hope is that it can just stay in that like boring but good category. Yeah.
Hi, I'm John. Can you hear me? Is this on? Okay. Okay. So I hate to be a doomster, but I always get a little skeptical when I hear people predict the future.
Yeah.
So what would your advice be to this audience here of what we can do to help this future that you described, this creative century, actually happen and not be a bubble? Because we don't know the future, but we have agency. So, and it sounds great.
Yeah,
So
love it.
How could
love
we
it.
help make this happen?
Yeah. Well, I think you're asking the exact right question, and I think that is the way it happens. Honestly, like, I can look now and see like a narrative to my life that I was blind to every step of the way. And even the steps that have taken to this have been wiggles in the darkness, where you bump into something, you're like, oh, maybe that's interesting. So I'm truly, it's a very alive journey I'm coming to you with, and so, but the things I think are important. Number one is that when I first had this idea of like the Metalabel thing, I wrote an essay about it, and I was going to send it as a newsletter because that's my default thing. I just send newsletters to things, and my wife, who I think is here, Jamie, I don't know, but she said to me, she's like, don't just send that as a newsletter. It's just going to make you disappointed again. True. And instead, what I ended up doing is there was like 5 people I was thinking about when I wrote it. And I just wrote those people individually and shared the Google Doc. I was like, hey, here's the thing. I haven't published this anywhere. But thinking about it, wonder what it does for you. And all 5 of those people wrote back. I already knew a couple of them, but not all of them. And they all wrote back super encouraging, interesting words and thoughts. And that was like the start of like this little conspiracy. But there was something I found powerful about that, about not trying to put something on main, and instead thinking, who am I trying to talk to about this, and what happens if we just talk directly to each other? So just that, going to a different door, really opened up a different set of circumstances for me. So that's one thing I would suggest. I've also found myself really playing more with the form of what I release. So say rather than like just publishing an essay as like a newsletter or something, instead I released one I'd worked on forever as a zip file, as a limited edition zip file, where people could pay $5. I sold 250 in about a week. They all sold out. I put up another round. I've sold maybe 700 of these at this point. And it was me being like, it's the essay, it's a video of me talking about it. It's like just sort of like all my feelings together. But through that, I've ended up in a dialogue with like 100 of these people who've written very detailed things back. And it's just created a different form of nurturing and power, is what it feels like. And ultimately, these conspiracies they ultimately do need to like have plans and act it on main or be a part of something bigger. And I would say that what I feel is that whatever scene or sort of culture community that we're sort of part of right now, we're not the only ones here, there's others of us here, but to me it feels like a network that's growing. And that with tools, and I think the web is going to continue to move in a way that acknowledges groups in a way that it hasn't before, I think it's going to empower us. But for me, it just started with sort of questioning, what is the outcome I truly want out of my work? Is it that I want a number of likes? Is it that I want to be in dialogue with a certain person? Like, what is it that I want? And that led me somewhere different than just following the status quo. So it's not a full answer for you, but that's how I would begin. Thank you for asking that. And I do see my wife.
I'm
Hi,
so
Jamie.
sorry, but we have to unfortunately stop Q&A. Can you give another round of applause for Yancey?
Thank you.
I'm nerding out. This talk was like for my soul. All right, 30-second pictures that I called out earlier. Mary Bergstrom, Stephen Chicknell, Sandy, and Rebecca Bake. Please come on up. Your 30 seconds are about to start. Speedy, speedy. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on. Krista will be timekeeping. If you go long, she will play the xylophone.
I hope I do Exa proud.
Yeah, we're hoping to make Exa proud. Exa, we miss you. Exa, we miss you. All right, let's start with Rebecca. No? Are you Sandy? You're married, and we'll start with Mary. Okay, let's go.
Hey guys, I'm Mary Bergstrom. You probably know me from the coffee line, but today I'm bringing the juice. I'm launching an alternative empire called Sparklandia that currently looks like a Substack newsletter, okay? But its basic premise is to get us all re-energized. What you'll find are me and other curious explorers diving into practical and inspirational new territories. Our goal is to get more people feeling better, more creative, more daring, because feeling good isn't frivolous, it's evolutionary. Optimism is a muscle you can fuel with the choices you make. I hope you'll choose to join me at sparklandia.substack.com.
All right, Stephen, are you here? Come on, Stephen. Come on.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Schickel, and I'm the founder and chef of Chow House and a PhD in nutrition and metabolic biology. And I'm looking to make soup fly, create magical dining experiences, and transform the way we interact with and eat food. I'm looking for partners, collaborators, coffee dates, and seed funding to bring these visions to life. If you're someone who loves food, is interested in education and storytelling, or develop technology and new media, let's chat. Thanks.
Sandy.
Hi, everyone. Okay, did I start? Okay. Okay, I didn't prepare anything, but who else here is a mother? Okay, I'm not the mother. I'm producing a short film about motherhood, and the director is also not the mother yet. But we dreamed about being a mother, but we are both struggling with mental illness. Mother is a short film about exploring meanings about motherhood, being a mother, about even struggling with mental illness. We are looking for a collaborator in the post realm about special effects, but we are looking for all kinds of collaborators to make the film even better, even more powerful. But yeah, that's it.
Rebecca, take us home.
Hi guys, my name is Rebecca. I'm a creative strategist in marketing. So we always say human experience can be like interesting and fascinating, but most of us live in a repetitive and mundane kind of life, stuck in one routine, one job, and one identity. What I'm trying to pitch is I'm trying to, against the society norms or status quo, to maximize human experience. Every 10 years, you change your life in a dramatic way to a different person, artist, therapist, nurse, firefighter, etc. And so I'm trying to recruit a bunch of people to start a movement and join me to this human experience and challenge yourself and change your life every 10 years.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to say it really takes guts to take the mic for 30 seconds. So I am so proud of all the 30-second pictures. And we'll be sending everyone's details in the follow-up email so you don't have to take notes. Before I let you go, I want to say thank you to our incredible volunteer team. Without them, these events would not be as smooth. So thank you, Abby, Angelica, Brian, Brianna, Caitlin, Celestine, Danielle, Exa, Katie, Kevin, Krista, Lena, Leah, Mary, Megan, Meredith, Oriana, Ricardo, Cece, Sky, and Whitney. And then thanks to Nelson, you can see how unbelievably good you look this morning because he takes photos of you. And thanks to Connie, we can watch these talks again. And thank you to Matthew and Brendan for making the live stream happen for everyone at home. You can hire all of these people. They're so reliable and so delightful. Highly recommend. And then next month, how incredibly exciting, we're going to a brand new venue. the Morgan Library. We're gonna have, right? Isn't that great? We have Liza Donnelly, a staff cartoonist for the New Yorker magazine, talk to us about creativity and her journey, which I am very excited to hear about. And as always, I want to leave you with a quote. This one is by David Graeber. The ultimate hidden truth of the world is that it is something that we make and could just as easily make differently. How appropriate for Yancey's talk. All right, thank you so much for being here, and see you next month.